Coach, last week Miami swept the series against BG after
Yes.
a 2-0 victory on Wednesday. What are your thoughts on the win?
Yeah, obviously a big win as it allowed us to win that series and also sweep the series. So I was really proud of our kids to be able to come out and win that game. As far as the win itself, I think the score was pretty indicative about how that game went. So, we started Bree. Bree threw a solid 4 innings for us. Courtney came in on the back 3 and did really well, and the defense did their job. And as far as Bree and Courtney are concerned, I think they only gave up 4 hits, and they had 13 Ks. And from an offensive standpoint, I actually thought Meredith Miller from BG, their pitcher, I thought she did a good job and threw a good game against us. And fortunately, we were able to get a couple of timely hits, and the first being Jenny Vasquez and her home run, and then Haley Tran drove in a run. So anytime you can beat a team 3 times, it's a great thing, because that's a hard thing to do. And so definitely a good series for us, and very happy with our team's performance against BG.
Miami then went on the road and won the series against top-ranked Kent State.
Yes.
In a dramatic fashion as well.
Yeah.
Can you take us through the series and what factors are contributing to Miami's success as a team?
Right. I think dramatic fashion is exactly how we ended up winning that series. But if you look at game 1, unfortunately, we fell short. Kent State has a really good pitcher in Andrea Scallion. She threw a good game. I thought we put together some good at bats, but we just couldn't find ways to score runs. But what we tell our team after game 1 is it's a 3-game series, and what that means is that regardless of win or lose, one of our goals game 1 is to obtain as much information about a team as we possibly can for games 2 and 3. And I thought our team did a good job of that in all facets. So we go into the first game on Saturday, and I don't think you ever go into a game thinking you're going to play a 14-inning game. But so we started Bree, and Bree threw a solid 4 innings for us. I decided to make a pitching change. I was playing the numbers. I think a lot of people were wondering why I made that change so early, but it was because Kent State had 4 lefty hitters coming up. So we went ahead and we put Taylor Rothy in there because she typically matches up pretty well with them. She ended up giving us a couple innings. We went to Courtney, and then just at one point in the game, I knew Bree had threw the ball really well earlier in the game. So I think it was the 9th inning. I put Bree back into the game, and she was just awesome. And our kids as a whole were just incredible that game. And I mean, we had kids stepping up defensively, we had kids stepping up offensively, and there were so many good moments in that game that it's hard to name them all. And looking back at that game, win or lose, I would have been proud of our team either way, because that game just showed how well and how good of a team that we can be. And it showed that we don't need to be perfect. We just need to find ways to win. But they brought the 5 things that we preach all the time. They played with a lot of energy. They were resilient. They executed. They were mentally tough, and they just gritted it out and grinded it out. And anytime you can win a game in 14 innings, I mean, you got to tip your hat off to Kent State too, because those kids battled equally as hard. And just fortunately at the end of it, our team just found a way to win. So I was extremely happy with our team in that game. And game 2, our offense, tip our hats off to them, because they did what they needed to do. And we always talk to our team about how game 3 is going to come down to who swings the bats better, and that's exactly what we did. Obviously, anytime you can score 16 runs, and I think we hit 5 home runs in that game, it was just a great game. But what I really liked is just the way that our kids were able to carry that momentum from game 1 into game 2, and they just, I didn't even have to say anything to them, because those kids were just locked in. They weren't going to lose. They were determined. So as a whole, it was probably the best day of softball that we've had all year, and I'm excited to see just our continued success as we go into the series this weekend.
Bree Pratt was named Miami Female Athlete of the Week this
Yes.
week, as well as MAC Pitcher
Yep.
of the Week. What thoughts do you have on her success last week?
Bree was exceptional, and we talked about that game against BG. She didn't give up any runs in that game. If you look at the Saturday series, and I already talked about what Bree had done in the Kent State series, in that in game one, she didn't give up a run and she threw 9 innings. And what we did was in game two, we ended up putting Bree in on the back end of that game. And a lot of people probably wondered why I would put Bree back in after she already threw so many innings in game one. And I did it for 2 reasons. When you look at that day, and when I look back at the season, first off, Bree was put into a big moment. And Bree hasn't really been put into big moments. She handled herself extremely well in game one. I was just so proud of her for her mentality. But we put her back in game two because I know that at any point in time, Kent State, they score a couple of runs, then they would build momentum. And I said, we're not even going to give them that chance. So once Bree went in, you could just tell on their side that they weren't too excited about that. But what I told Bree after that is this is exactly what it's going to be like in Akron. You might have to throw 12 innings in a day, and it's not likely sometimes, but I needed to see that kid could do it, and obviously she was very successful on Saturday. So her performance, I'm very proud of Bree for what she was able to do, but I was most proud of her from a mentality standpoint and her just stepping up in a big moment. And for a freshman pitcher to be able to do that and be that mature and be able to handle that pressure, it was pretty exceptional. So Bree is well deserving of those awards.
Courtney Veerstra passed her season strikeout total from last year and now has 164 strikeouts, which is the 9th most in a single season in program history. What are your thoughts on her achievement?
Right. Proud of Courtney for being able to accomplish that. And, she's had 164 strikeouts in 110 innings, which is pretty exceptional. And Courtney is one of those kids that she comes out every day and works really hard in her craft. And she's very intentional about getting better. And as far as the strikeouts are concerned, she worked really hard in the offseason to develop and improve a couple of her pitches, which I think has led to her success as far as the strikeouts are concerned. But Courtney is the type of kid where she's never going to settle. She's never going to be complacent, and she's continuing to still work on getting better. And, I think Courtney's already a great pitcher, but for a kid with the mindset that she has and the physical ability, I'm excited to see her career continue because I know she's just going to keep getting better.
Offensively, you have a few different players stepping up for Miami. Yep. Jenny Vasquez now has 8 home runs this season, which is tied for the 9th most in a single season in program history. Kara Leckinger leads the team in conference with a 371 batting average. Lily Wilmot leads the team in RBIs in conference play with 10. And Jada has also been a key contributor to your lineup as she's coming off a big grand slam this weekend against Kent State. Yep. How are these different players' contributions elevating the level of Miami's play? Right.
So first off, with Jenny Vasquez, Jenny's been just doing a great job just the entire year for us, and I'm happy to hear that she's climbing the home run ladder, and I know that she's got a few more in her for this year. But Jenny is someone who we've relied on heavily all year, and she's come up in clutch situations. As I mentioned earlier, she hit that home run against BG. That was a big hit for us. And as far as the other 3, I've been really proud of what those 3 have been able to do. And Kara Leckinger, I kind of call her she's kind of the unsung hero, the silent assassin, because that kid just kind of goes about her business. She doesn't do anything flashy, but she produces. And the fact that she's leading our team in batting average and actually in a couple of other categories says a lot about her. So she's been doing great. And Lily and Jada, they've also been doing a great job and been coming up in clutch situations for us. And I think most importantly, with those 3 producing for us, what it does is it takes pressure off of some of our other kids like Johnny and Ashton, because those kids have been just doing a great job, especially in conference for us and stepping up in big moments. So for us, it's a good thing to have kids like that in the lineup because we're seeing production from the entire lineup, which is obviously a great thing. So just been very pleased with those hitters.
You host Buffalo on Friday and Saturday this weekend. What do you expect from this upcoming series?
This is going to be a tough series, and I think Buffalo is the one team in conference that's surprising a lot of people. They're winning good game. They're winning games. They took a game from NIU. They took a game from Central Michigan, and they're just playing really well right now. It was a tough series against them last year, and I'm expecting the same thing this year. And when you look at the numbers, their strength is going to be in their offense. They have a few kids swinging the bat really well, a few kids who are going to pose a threat to run, and they've got 2 kids in their lineup, Anna Guin and Janelle Martinez, that we're really going to have to pay particular attention to. As far as their pitcher, they've got 2 kids who've been seeing the most innings, and their ace is Allie Power. She's a senior this year. She's been their ace for a couple of years, so we're pretty familiar with what she'll bring to the table. Their number 2 pitcher, we're somewhat familiar with her, but she hasn't thrown as many innings as Allie has. But I know, we have this entire week to prep. My coaching staff and I were working hard at the film and putting together our game plan for our team. And I know because we have this full week that our team's going to be well prepared going into the weekend. And our biggest message is going to be able to carry that momentum that we had from last weekend into this weekend. So we get to come at home, play in our own stadium in front of our crowd. So I know that our team and staff are looking forward to that. We're just looking forward to get back out on the field and competing this weekend.
Thank you. Good luck.
Thank you.